may tune in to see the head-turning fashion and exciting musical acts, but it might surprise you to know that many celebrities refuse to participate in this show. We'll show you a darker side to the glitz and glamour you see on TV, and let you in on some shady secrets the Recording Academy doesn't want you to learn about. After you learn the truth about the Grammy Awards, you may join the stars who take a pass on the event this year. Profit. At the 2019 Grammy Awards, fans can look forward to seeing some truly memorable performances, including the Red Hot Chili Peppers performing with Post Malone. Other stars include her, Miley Cyrus, Brandi Carlile, Camila Cabello, Cardi B, Dan Pleshay, Shawn Mendes, Janelle Monáe, and Casey Musgraves. But while you're watching these awesome acts, just keep in mind that allegedly none of the performers are getting paid for their performances. That's right, the Grammy invites a select group of celebs to perform and allegedly doesn't pay them a dime. But this doesn't mean performing isn't profitable for these stars. There's something called the Grammy bounce, which is when stars see a serious boost in revenue after performing at the award show.
Money back, money back, money back, money back, money back, money back, woo!
Many have seen as much as a 55% increase in concert sales and producers' fees following a Grammy performance. Producer David Banner claims he went from charging $50,000 to $100,000 after working on Lil Wayne's Lollipop, and the stars are seeing passive profits as well. Bruno Mars went from $130,000 as a nightly gross up to $202,000, which is a 55% increase. Being invited to perform at the Grammys means making a lot more money, even if the event doesn't pay directly. Gifts. Getting to perform at the Grammys, and better yet, winning an award, means a huge increase in revenue for celebrities. But just because someone doesn't win, it doesn't mean they're going to go home empty-handed. You might not be aware that showing up to the Grammy Awards means getting a complimentary goodie bag, and they're worth way more than most people know. The gift bags for the 2018 Grammy Awards were estimated to be worth over $30,000 each. And yes, that's just for showing up, not for winning an award or even being nominated. Companies volunteer to give away their products with the hope that celebrities will like them enough to use them in the future, or so they can say that a celebrity used their products or services. One of the gifts included in the 2018 bags was a certificate for a whole week at the exclusive Golden Door Spa in California. There are also tons of Luxe Beauty products, including a year's worth of Healing Saint Luminosity Skin Serum by Dr. Jane 360, and a set of silk faux mink lashes from Inception of Beauty. And then there are straight-up outrageous gifts like circus training from the Pizzi Circus or a mixology course offered by Liquor Lab in New York City. Performers. Now that we've discussed how profitable it can be to perform at the Grammy Awards, let's talk about how the acts are chosen. The Grammys are put on by the Recording Academy, and they're the ones who decide who is invited to perform at the award show. But to us outsiders, the criteria is pretty confusing.
Mr. Krabs, I am so confused.
And there have been allegations of sexism because of the lack of female performers over the years. At the 2018 awards, Lorde was nominated for Album of the Year, yet she was not offered a solo performance, while her male counterparts were. Kendrick Lamar, Childish Gambino, Bruno Mars, and Jay-Z were all offered the opportunity to perform solo, although Jay-Z declined to do so. But as for Lorde, she was only offered the chance to take part in a tribute to Tom Petty, which seemed like an odd choice considering Lorde's talent and style. At the Grammy Awards, the Recording Academy addressed the issue and basically said there isn't enough time for everyone to perform. But many fans believe it wasn't a coincidence that the only female nominee in the category wasn't offered the chance. There are tons of super talented female performers out there performing to sold-out concert venues all over the world. When you see the likes of Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, and Beyoncé strolling down the red carpet, it can be easy to miss the massive gender gap which exists at the Grammy Awards. After Lorde was seemingly snubbed at the 2018 Grammys, her mother pointed out that of the 899 people to be nominated for Grammy Awards in the past 6 years, only 9% were women. This finding was discovered by USC Annenberg, who claimed the music industry grossly underrepresents women, and the Grammy Awards make this very apparent. And the gender bias is getting worse over the years, not better, which is rather unsettling. In 2017, male pop stars had just over 83% of top songs, while female musicians only had about 16%. And hosting duties for the Grammys aren't much better. This year, Alicia Keys will be only the 6th woman to ever host the famous award show in its 61-year history. Nomination. By now, you might be wondering just how people get nominated to receive a Grammy Award. After all, we know getting nominated is a big deal which can directly impact the earning power of an artist. But the truth is more complicated than you might think, and the Recording Academy isn't exactly forthcoming with details. The awards promise to honor artistic achievement, technical proficiency, and overall excellence in the recording industry without regard to album sales or chart position. In order to submit your song or album for nomination, it has to be released within the proper time frame for that year's awards. It also has to have been released in the United States and available for sale through a broad distributor like iTunes or Amazon. But who you are signed with may prevent your album from having a shot at being nominated. If a star has signed on with a major label, it's not unheard of for the label to withhold their album and instead submit one from another of their artists. And if you're signed on with a small label, they may not know how to submit something and get it through the complex nomination process. Best New Artist. Probably the most confusing category at the Grammys is Best New Artist. You don't even have to be totally unheard of to win, and the criteria is pretty vague. Some people who have been in the industry for years but finally released a solo album have been nominated, despite not really being new in the traditional sense. In addition, there's also a crazy rumor that the Best New Artist award is cursed because things seem to fall apart for people as soon as they win. Evanescence had already broken up by the time they won Best New Artist in 2003, and Amy Winehouse beat out Taylor Swift for the award in 2007. Although Amy lived a further 3 years, she didn't put out any new music during that time, while Taylor Swift's career was truly just getting started. And when Macklemore and Ryan Lewis won in 2014, Macklemore apologized to Kendrick Lamar, who he claimed got robbed of the award. According to the Grammy screener Rob Kenner, members of the Recording Academy tend to vote for people whose name they recognize instead of taking quality of work into account. This is probably a better explanation for the issue with Best New Artist winners than a curse, but it's still pretty disheartening. Wins. There are a few ways to join the Recording Academy and register your vote for the Grammy Awards. You can be credited with 12 tracks released and available for purchase, with at least one released within the past 5 years. Or you can have 6 credits on tracks released for physical sale. You could have won a Grammy yourself, or simply have been endorsed by a current member who is eligible to vote. One of the problems here is that often people end up voting in categories in which they have no experience and they aren't familiar with. This explains some of the crazy upsets which have happened over the history of the Grammys. One year, Lionel Richie's Can't Slow Down won Album of the Year, beating out both Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen and Purple Rain by Prince. This is far from the only example of a win which truly baffled fans and called into question if anyone at the Recording Academy appreciates good music. Even music legends such as Depeche Mode, Guns N' Roses, Jimi Hendrix, Katy Perry, and Snoop Dogg haven't won a Grammy despite being nominated multiple times. Categories. There are many Grammy categories which people aren't aware of simply because they aren't shown on television. These include things like Best Metal Album or Best Original Cast Recording, and surprisingly used to include rap. Even huge stars and Grammy winners like Jay-Z, Kanye West, and 50 Cent have spoken out against the way their music has been treated at the Grammys. And tons of iconic artists have never won Grammy Awards, including Notorious B.I.G., Run DMC, and Tupac. Will Smith, Salt-N-Pepa, and others have even protested the Grammys by refusing to attend to the award show. At the time, the Recording Academy claimed it was just due to constraints and not a purposeful snub, but the next year the rap category was televised. Also complicating the issue is that a single album can be nominated for multiple categories, such as when the new classic by Iggy Azalea was nominated as a rap album and for Best Pop Duo/Group Performance. This means that the more generic your music, the more categories it can be nominated in, and the greater the chance of you taking home a Grammy Award. It really calls into question the integrity of the award and makes you think about what it means to win a Grammy. Award show. When you sit down to watch the Grammy Awards, you may hear Alicia Keys congratulate people on winning another award when you haven't seen them claim one yet. No, she probably didn't make a mistake, it's just that large portions of the Grammy Awards don't make it onto television. Oh, and those Grammys they hand out aren't the real ones artists take home. Yes, it may sound strange, but nobody leaves the award show taking their Grammy with them. All of the Grammys you see on television are blank, and the winners get receipts for the real thing. Not just anyone is allowed to put their hands on an official Grammy. Only the the winner, and the president of the Recording Academy is allowed to touch them. This means what you see the presenter handing out are duplicate Grammys which haven't been engraved with any information. The awards are then taken back offstage and given to the next presenter. The real awards are delivered much later after the fact. They may have to share awards at the show, but each person who appears on stage at the Grammys does get their very own microphone to use. In 2018, over 400 microphones were used over the course of the event. Neil Portnow. After last year's Grammy Awards, there was a lot of talk about the treatment of male artists versus female artists. The Recording Academy was asked to answer for this discrepancy, and President Neil Portnow released a statement which caused no small amount of backlash. He advised female artists to step it up if they wanted to win. Now, after learning more about the Grammy Awards and the voting process, this statement is all the more irritating. Neil claimed later his statement had been taken out of context, but no shortage of celebrities and fans were furious about it. Neil is now stepping down from the Recording Academy, but there may be something even shadier going on here. According to the former VP of Music Cares, Dana Tamarkin, Neil misappropriated funds which were supposed to go to charity. Last year's Grammy telecast ended up losing money, and Dana alleges Neil used charity money to cover the loss. This meant the charity only ended up taking in $1 million in 2018 compared to the $5 million in 2017. Neil and the Recording Academy claims his decision to step down has nothing to do with this, but many people can't help but wonder if there is something else going on. Now that you've learned about some of the shady things going on behind the scenes at the Grammy Awards, do you plan to tune in this year? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section below, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button for more videos from us here at TheTalko. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.